My mic was muted. It's your girl, Sarah Fontenot, host of the It's Giving podcast. And you guys are in for a treat today. I want to know, are my givers here? Are the lovers here? Is the Doc Squad here? Does Teray have a hashtag? Here we go. But today, guys, we're going to have a lot of fun, okay? And a lot of like a little gut-wrenching information, because the truth is a lot of women have the degrees, the business, the bag, but they don't have a man. Now, this episode dives headfirst into one of the most explosive conversations in Black culture. Has the rise of the strong Black independent woman made Black love harder to find? Or is it harder to keep? Is it confidence or quiet contempt for traditional partnership? Are Black men really intimidated, or are they just tired of fighting for respect in their own homes? We are not holding back today or any day. This isn't about respectability. It's about reality. Let's get into it right now on Truth Talks.
Are y'all ready to roll? Let's go.
Okay, Dr. Sarah Fontenot, you go ahead, opening the show in style. Welcome and thank you for that.
Of course. Happy to be here. I love seeing y'all's faces.
And Dr. Cheyenne Bryant is here as usual.
Hey, what's Sarah? We missed you. You left me to have to deal with this one heathen.
I'm
right?
so sorry.
Now, Mitri's a lover boy, but you left me to deal with that heathen. Welcome back, sis. Now I got someone I can tag in. What's up, Truth Avengers? I am here.
Last episode, I was a digger. Now I'm a heathen. Demetri, I can't friggin' live. What is going on?
You know, y'all had that whole other episode where you said all Black women do is not hold space and pounce on y'all. So I might as well
Demetri.
go on. I might as well cater to your narrative, Teray, and pounce on you.
She's making fun of our pain again.
Dimitri ain't in this.
I've learned it's good to be talked about and not talked about at all. So, you know, we love it. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys again. Always great seeing your faces.
Wow, I wish I could say that for all of you. Let's get into story number one. Trending truth, Jay-Z versus Tony Buzbee. Jay-Z has sued the Houston lawyer for $20 million, alleging false accusations and extortion. An LA judge dismissed the lawsuit, saying Buzbee's actions did not constitute legal extortion. Jay-Z filed an immediate appeal, and Buzbee countersued for damages. The fight goes on. Was Jay-Z's lawsuit a legitimate legal counter, Dimitri? Or do you think it's a strategic intimidation move? Or is there like a PR aspect where he wants to keep making sure that there is a headline in the paper over or online, over and over and over, where he's cementing into our mind, Tony Buzbee was wrong and Jay-Z is right?
You know, I think it's a little bit of both. I think when we pay attention to who this is, Jay-Z's always been a strategic figure, whether it was his early days in music or now in business. Jay-Z can pond a way to do a little bit of both. And I think it's also an avocation, like we know Jay-Z always have advocated for other artists and other Black artists specifically. I think this is a way of making sure they feel confident enough not to get steamrolled by these civil suits and civil lawsuits that has been hitting now everyone. If you look up, every major Black figure in the industry is in a civil lawsuit, but I think this is actually both for Jay-Z. He's a very smart man.
The Doc, isn't that a lot of entertainers are doing wild and potentially criminal or illegal stuff, or that these lawsuits are being weaponized against them?
I think a little bit of both. I think with the Jay-Z case, we found that the, alleged victim, which I guess is not a victim anymore, pulled back and said, hey, I don't have the evidence, or this was false, right? And so when you have something of that sort and you're dragging my name in the mud about something that I didn't do, then you damn right I'm suing everybody. You, your family, the attorney, the defense team. I don't care who, the attorney's team. I don't care who it is, because now you have defamed a part of my name, and I've had to defend and spend money on defending my name that I have spent whole, 10 plus, 15, 20 plus years building. And not only that, but now you're affecting, I have a family, my wife, my children are affected. My wife is on tour. I got kids I have to protect. So no, I think that Jay should go for Tony. And I think that Tony, being an attorney, should answer back. I think this is what happens. They're in a brawl. And I think that, no one's going to, when two powerful people are in a space like this in the ring, no one's just going to lay down. Someone's going to answer back. And so I think Jay-Z has every right to do it. I respect him a lot. He's a powerful man. I like the way he uses his power. And I think that he needs to go in and shut this shit down. So if any other woman who wants to lie or defame his name, or anybody who's not a woman, a man, a person, a human, a dog, an animal, sees this, they know Jay is not the one to fuck with. Unless your allegations are true and strong and you can prove it, leave my boy alone.
Sarah, Tony Buzbee inherited this lawsuit from another lawyer. And for whatever reason, he did not think that they needed to do their own due diligence. They did not examine the indictment, the accuser, the same way that they should have done it. And I think they thought, if we just throw a number at Jay-Z and throw a word at Jay-Z, an accusation at him, he'll just give us some money and to make it go away, right? Because that's the easier way. But no, Jay was like, no, that's not happening. This did not happen. I'm going to stand up and protect myself. But in the court of public opinion, you need to do more than just defeat it that one time. You need to defeat it over and over and over. So he's making sure that he's saying again and again and again, not only was this wrong, but I sued the man. There's a headline. Now it gets knocked down. There's another headline. Now it's back on appeal. There's another headline. So he's reminding you over and over and over, I beat this. This was baseless. I beat this. This was baseless.
Yeah, well, I think that sometimes success can make you lazy. And Tony Buzbee has had a lot of success in his career, maybe so much so that he might be a little bit arrogant to the sense where he doesn't have to do his own due diligence. He is him. It's going to work. He has the intimidation factors and things. And, I agree with Jay-Z, because one thing about the internet is most people don't do their research, nor do they care to see the result. In most cases, they see what the first headline is and then they run with that. And so if you are going to defame my name or my reputation, I am absolutely going to countersue. I am absolutely filing against you so that I can get what's rightfully mine. I don't think Jay is wrong. I think a lot of times success makes people lazy. Tony Buzbee, you better tighten up, sir. That's what I think.
Doc, what is the potential precedent if Jay's appeal succeeds?
I mean, I think it's what I said. I think it's, listen, for the folks who are victims, yes. Hey, listen, take people to civil court, criminal court, and I really pray and hope you get justice and you get it quick. But for the folks who are just coming up saying, look, it's a money grab. I see money here and I just want to figure out how I can sue and take somebody down. No, that's a hard no. And I love that Jay is saying, listen, I'm not to be fucked with. The mother folks over there may pay you off and pay you to shut up, even when they know they're not wrong. I'm not doing that. I'm taking you to court. And I'm going to play hardball and I'm going to get my justice, because if a victim is a victim, whether it's the person who's being alleged for something or the person who really was victimized, both victims, whoever the victim is, deserves justice. And in this situation, Jay is the victim. He deserves his justice. Doesn't matter how much money he has or what kind of muggle he is. Don't come barking up this tree if you know the allegations are false. And I think there should be some type of criminalization for the folks who are claiming victim, and these charges are false. I'm sorry. People shouldn't be able to drag people through the mud, Torre, and then say, you know what? I'm going to back out of it. I want to backpedal because I can't prove the evidence and my bad. What? No.
Interesting point. Let's move on to our politicking segment, because after the big, beautiful bill, violent ICE raids in the parks and feds saying there's no Epstein list, it seems we're finally now getting a groundswell of elected officials pushing back against Trumpy the Mad King. Check out how Maryland Governor Wes Moore warned his constituents about the big, beautiful, ugly bill.
Listen, I just finished my latest brief on Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill. And I cannot explain enough how completely heartless this bill is and how deeply devastating it will be to the people of the state of Maryland. And here's a snapshot. If you are a multimillionaire, congratulations, because this bill is for you. But if you are everyone else, if you're all of our working families, one of our seniors, our public servants, you are getting hosed. Close to 200,000 Marylanders could lose their health coverage overnight. And rural hospitals in the state of Maryland? Rural hospitals could lose $250 million in funding in the stroke of a pen. To our working families who are just trying to take care of each other. To our seniors who deserve to age in dignity. To people with disabilities. To everyone who has earned SNAP. They're trying to take your food assistance away. That helps you to pay for your groceries and helps you to provide for your families. The Trump administration has already tried to sever the relationship between the federal government and our states. But this bill, it severs the relationship between the federal government and its people. You. And here's one thing that I know about this state, though. We are tough. We are resilient. We stay together. And Marylanders, we leave no one behind.
Oh, you know, I love that. We leave no one behind. Lawmakers bank on you staying quiet and ashamed because Medicaid, it isn't some abstract program. It keeps elders, kids, low-income families, and disabled people alive. Meanwhile, in New York City, Trump has gone apeshit over in New York City. Mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani, calling him a communist and even threatened to jail him if he wins the November elections, that if he interferes with ICE. Let's take a look at this video.
Mr. President, your beloved New York City. Your beloved New York City may well be led by a communist soon, Zohran Mamdani, who in his nomination speech said he will defy ICE and will not allow ICE to arrest criminal aliens in New York City. Your message to communist Zohran Mamdani?
Well, then we'll have to arrest him. Look, we don't need a communist in this country, but if we have one, I'm going to be watching over him very carefully on behalf of the nation.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Arrest him is wild, but Mamdani did punch back. Check out this video.
Yesterday, Donald Trump said that I should be arrested. He said that I should be deported. He said that I should be denaturalized. And he said those things about me, someone who stands to be the first immigrant mayor of this city in generations, someone who would also be the first Muslim and the first South Asian mayor in this city's history. Less so because of who I am, because of where I come from, because of how I look or how I speak, and more so because he wants to distract from what I fight for. I fight for working people. I fight for the very people that have been priced out of this city, and I fight for the same people that he said he was fighting for. This is the same president who ran on a campaign of cheaper groceries, who ran on a campaign about easing a suffocating cost of living crisis. And ultimately, it is easier for him to fan the flames of division than to acknowledge the ways in which he has betrayed those working class Americans, not just in this city, but across this country, and the ways in which he continues to betray them. Because we know that he would rather speak about me than speak about the legislation that he is shepherding through Washington, D.C. Legislation that will quite literally take health care away from Americans. Legislation that will steal food from the hungry. Legislation that looks to build upon one of the largest transfers of wealth we've seen in recent history in his first administration and do it once again for the very Americans who already have enough. We should be fighting for those that do not have what they need to live a dignified life. That is what I will do, and I am thankful to have the protection and to have the support of so many New Yorkers who have stood up and said how unacceptable this is, including our governor, including members of the labor movement. And ultimately what I fear for is that if this is what Donald Trump and his administration feel comfortable about saying about the Democratic nominee for the mayor of New York City, imagine what they feel comfortable saying and doing about immigrants whose names they don't even know.
Oh, my Jesus. You see, he isn't actually even the first political leader to push back against Trump. You know, Governor Gavin of California had this to say.
What a disgrace what's happening in MacArthur Park. What theater. On the 6-month anniversary, after all, of these fires. That's the message from the polluted heart of the President of the United States. The polluted heart of Stephen Miller. Those National Guard men and women that were out there protecting people are now being used as political pawns, out there on horsebacks running through soccer fields in the middle of the day. Timed, around announcements and events like this. It says everything you and I need to know about the state of mind of the President of the United States in this administration. So to those that feel torn asunder by everything that's happened over the course of the last 6 months, notably highlighted and reinforced last 6 weeks and over the course of the last 60 minutes and day like today, I want folks to know we have your back and we'll continue to come back and do what we can to protect our diverse communities, to protect the spirit that defines the best of this city and our state, and to push back against this cruelty.
We appreciate him standing up and defying Trump. We're also seeing Governor Tim Walz out of Minnesota doing that, Governor Pritzker in Illinois doing that, and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson also openly defying Trump.
What are your thoughts on having a meeting with the Trump administration to try and, for lack of a better phrase, kiss the ring to be able to stop the federal funds from being held back from the city of Chicago?
Well, I will just say, outside of a 2016, Cubs World Series ring, I'm not kissing a ring, okay? The President of the United States of America has an open invitation to the 5th floor of the greatest freaking city in the world, the city of Chicago. And I'm going to just be bold here for a second. There's a long history of black political leaders talking to people who may not see us as first class, trying to force your will to break the spirit of working people in order to have a conversation. That's terrorism. We're not going to negotiate with terrorists. We're going to negotiate on behalf of working people in this city. And that's what American people want us to do. There's a reason why he's losing support. Now, he doesn't care. This president refuses to see our humanity. And his response to this economy is to give tax breaks and benefits to the ultra rich while the rest of us are struggling. You got to show up for working people in this city, in this country, and not for the oligarchs and the ultra rich. That's what has destroyed our economy, is that we have the ultra rich who continue to receive tax breaks while the rest of us have to pay for their failures.
You're talking about terrorism. You're not calling the president a terrorist?
No, what I'm saying is trying to hold people hostage and manipulating them to succumb to his will and then hold up our tax dollars. That is how terrorists behave.
That is how terrorists behave. I love the spirit. Thank you, Mayor. We see all these people, Cheyenne, standing up to the president. There's Governor Pritzker from Illinois. Are we starting to see Democrats get the spirit? That's Governor Walz, Minnesota, Sarah. Are we starting to see, she knows that one because he's close to Canada. Are we starting to see Democrats find the spine that we've been wanting them to have?
Let me say this, first of all. That Chicago mayor, that Chi-Town mayor, when your whitewash mindset, Torre, didn't get what I was saying, he exemplified exactly what I meant by being black, by standing in who he is, speaking in the tone that a black man speaks in, and saying we're not negotiating X, Y, and Z. That's what I meant by being black. We are represented in different ways, but that is a black leader who's also black in leadership. I respect that kind of leadership. Now, moving forward, didn't even hear your question because I was so caught up in wanting to make my point about this mayor who was so inspiring and so driving, and he didn't have to say, I'm only representing black people, because again, being in leadership is about representing all people you're serving, but it's also having a part of you that knows I am still a black leader that black people have to identify with. That's what he gave me. What was your question, Torre?
We're moving on. I mean, like, I asked you a question, you don't even listen. I mean, like, he didn't say America is racist. That was the point. Like, he's still not going to say America is racist while he's running for office. Correct. He's never going to say that. Like, he is as black as I am. Nothing he said, I wouldn't say right here and haven't said it right here on this show. But he didn't say America's racist. That's easy for us to say as activists and talkers. When you need 100 million white people to vote for you to prevent Trump from becoming president, you just cannot say America is racist. when you want to be the president of the United States, no matter how black you are.
He said something worse. The president is a terrorist. That's what he said.
He's not running for office.
He's already in office. He's already in office.
The thing about it is, I just love to see somebody from where I'm from. And I actually had conversations with this brother before. Very, very intellectual man, and can speak his mind just as he's doing now. I think the beauty in it is it's inspiring. And it inspires the person who's listening, whether he's running for anything or he's not. He's still a powerful person in the figure of Chicago that we idolize and we look up to. And to be able to say these words as we're feeling them, Trump's nothing but a terrorist. He's nothing but a terrorist. And we've been preaching that same narrative on the show for a very long time. And I'm so proud to see a black man from where I'm from preaching the exact same narrative.
You know, one thing, and I just want to jump in here really quick. My first question is, who the hell asked that question? Like the reporter that made the correlation to kissing his ring. What is this? Like, what do we think that this is? I am flabbergasted. My gaster is flabbered. Okay. I am confused and perplexed. And then once I get past me being confused, my next question, or I guess it's really more so the tragic flaw of huge, massive amounts of monetary successes, you get away from the people. And I think the issue here is that a lot of these things are not for everyone in America. It's for the top 3% of America. And when you're in the top 3%, you have a different style of life than those that are in the 97%, but it's the 97% that are relying on all of these changes that now you're making. And so I think that there is it's like a good old boys club where if you make a certain amount, I don't know that it's necessarily an income thing as much as I don't know if it's necessarily a race thing as much as it's an income thing. But I do think that he's just gotten really far away from the people. And I think that, money can make you really cold.
The larger thing is that I don't think that Dems are yet ready to show the spine and have the fight that we need to have. I don't think we have the power as a party at this moment to be a significant fight against Trump. I don't think we have the tactics yet to do that, right? I don't think we've imagined the way to do it. But no, not yet. I am encouraged to see the mayor, the governors standing up and saying, but so far we're just saying words, and I need to see more action. We were told over and over, this is a dictator who will ruin democracy. Okay, well, if you believe in democracy, you've devoted your life to working in democracy and in furtherance of democracy. Well, now the barbarian is not at the gate. He is in the White House. What are you going to do now? So that's what I want to see. I want to see Dems fighting as if we actually believe that democracy is truly in danger in this moment, because they say it is, but I don't know if they act, Dimitri. I don't know if they act like it is.
I've learned that the GOP kind of thrives when the Democrats look scattered. You know what I mean? When there's no strategy behind it and the messages are all over the place. If we can actually find some alignment, we can probably start making some noise. Now, like you said, I don't think we're ready for it just yet, but it takes conversations like this to be had in order to push forward.
Yeah, and I want to ask the chat, I just feel like we got too many celebrities in office who want face and name recognition, who don't know policies or politics. I'm just going to call it what it is. They skated their way through. They know how to campaign and ask for money, because we have a lot of folks who are voting, and I'm just going to go there, who are ignorant to policies and politics, and they're voting for people based on face, name, and who they like the speech they said. And you got these people in office who do not know how to strategize. We don't have the old school politicians or Dems who are really having think tanks, really strategizing on the internal things like policy, legislation, meetings, and how to push back. So I agree with you, Torbay. I don't think that they are ready or have the muscle right now to even attempt to strategize, because it seems like the Democratic Party is so spread out. And there's not leadership in the micro positions, and there's definitely not leadership at the macro level. So I agree with you on that, Torbay.
Yeah, it is true that we lack leadership at the macro level. Generally, the leader of the party would be the last president from that party. But obviously, Joe Biden is not mentally capable to be that person, to be a leader. When we wanted Joe to leave, they're really talking to Obama. It was Nancy Pelosi, it was Chuck Schumer, and they're talking to Obama. Can you help us remove Joe? Now, if something else were to happen, we could not go to Joe. So then that falls back to Obama is essentially the leader, but it was so far ago that you wonder, like, can he still be that ultra leader for the whole party? I don't know. And I know that he has led us in a moderate direction away from the progressive direction. We were telling him we want Bernie Sanders, and he helped push us in the moderate direction of Joe Biden. And that is part of why we are in this position today. I want to move on to the main topic, which I think could be very powerful with you guys. Let's talk about the educated, self-made, not waiting on a man's sister who is independent, but is the independence somehow pushing away the intimacy that she wants? Are strong, successful Black women being celebrated or silently blamed for the breakdown of marriage and ultimately the breakdown of the Black family? From social media pick-me culture to masculinity dynamics, let's talk about whether independence among sisters is empowering them or sort of emasculating them. First up, let's talk about the I don't need a man crew. Look at this.
What do Black women want from Black men? What do Black women want from Black men? We as Black women, we will say we no longer want to be a stay-at-home wife. We want to be bosses. We want to be entrepreneurs, and we want to obtain the bag. We will spew out vitriol, and we will say that we don't need a man. But in the same breath, we will complain about how men are not living up to our standards. If we don't need or want a man, why do we have standards for men? On the other hand, we will set these high standards for men, but we don't want to adhere to the standards that they set for us. Make it make sense, please.
Sarah, does this I don't need a man mindset help Black women? Does it hurt Black love? Are the sisters too independent and taking care of themselves, which is great, but is that hurting their ability to create the lasting relationships that they also want?
Absolutely. I think that we as Black women, this is the most masculine we've ever been. Now, to be fair, it makes sense. It's a survival tactic, right? When we are providing for ourselves, we are getting to our goals, because ultimately, if we're not either partnered with someone by sharing the bills or have a man that is paying all the bills, we ourselves have to do that. And it is very expensive to live a normal life. So I understand where it's coming from. And then you partner that with the fact that we have a lot of single mothers. So now you have women that are raising women and their sons, and they're raising men and their daughters. And they're teaching their daughters that they don't need a man. They're teaching their daughters because, look, I've done it. I don't need anybody. What can a man do for me anyway? Well, if you take out the transactional, prostitutional part of it, of dating, and you bring up the connectedness and the love and the passion and the being able to have that person that you really relate to, love, and appreciate, then you understand that there's nothing more powerful than being able to settle into our feminine energy. It's natural. And this whole feminism thing, it's a scam. Being this super independent, it's a scam. It's a scam.
Okay. Well, I don't believe that. I don't believe that equality between the genders is a scam. But I do want to drill down on your prior point. And is it that the sisters need to become more masculinized, right? To be strong, independent, take care of themselves. All fab, we love that, but then it's affecting us romantically. Is it them, or is it that the men who are in their dating pool are not secure enough in their masculinity to deal with a woman who is strong and a little bit more masculine because she's had to, be independent, take care of herself?
Well, that's the thing, right? Survival has made us masculine in the world. But when you come home, you should be little soft angel poodle kitten muffin baby. Like, at the end of the day, if you are not being soft with a masculine man, now let's be honest, because roles have really kind of reversed here. Women are much more masculine and men are much more feminine. Men, for the most part, we're lacking a ton inside of leadership inside of our men. And it's for good reason. Like, all of this has happened for a reason, but this agenda is not going to have us loving each other. You hear Black men saying, oh, I don't even date Black women. Oh, a passport bro. Oh, I'm going overseas. Oh, I would never date a Black woman. You have all of these toxic narratives that are being pushed forward. And the truth is, we have made it so easy. Let's be clear here, okay? The fact that a woman will have sex with a man after she meets him for the first time at dinner, to me, says prostitution, transactional.
We're not talking about that, Sarah.
What we're talking about is how the standard is so low that now you don't have to show up. Men don't have to necessarily cater or court or do any of these things. And women don't have to fall into their feminine and love and be cooing and nurturing. Why? Because people are looking for the transaction of sex and no accountability. That's what I think.
Doc, we do see a lot of Black love needing help, not being as available to a lot of people as they want. A lot of sisters and some brothers, but a lot of sisters want to form lasting relationships, and they're not finding the men who deserve to be in lasting relationships with them. So the question is why? Yeah. And, almost the same point we're talking about with Sarah, like a lot of sisters are dominating in education. Black women are the most degreed demographic in the country. So they are the most educated demographic in the country. That sounds fantastic, right? They are doing great in business. They are doing great in home ownership. Has the strong Black women, it's not a narrative, it's a fact. It's a real thing in the world. All these strong Black women made it harder to then create the relationships that they want.
So I don't think they made it harder to create the relationship that they want. Black love is on life support, yes. No, I don't think they made it harder. You said something, Touré, where you said, and you said it real quick, and I don't think our audience caught it. You said something in the sense of, when a Black woman has to assume that masculine energy or role, it does affect us, meaning relationship-wise, romantically. I do agree with you. I want to say that you can be powerful, educated, successful, and not be masculine and not be dominant. You can be all those things, right? And still have the balance of being, I always call it a hybrid, alpha submissive, or knowing that you may want to dominate your field or your space or industry, but your love language isn't you dominating your man or dominating somebody romantically. So that is something that can coexist. The reason why Black women are having such an issue with finding someone who's equally yoked to their level or standard, first one is we're not always celebrated for our bossness, our success, right? Our education, all of this empowerment that we have created for ourselves and for each other by Black men. We're often tolerated and not celebrated, for one. For two, there is a group of Black men who are intimidated. I believe some of that intimidation is healthy. I don't think it's all unhealthy. I think there's some Black men who are intimidated because they have the right heart posture and they would like to be able to provide or like to be able to be equally yoked to a woman that they marry. Not that they want to demise her. They want to be able to bring something to the table. And when they feel they can't, it does shake them up in some kind of way. Lastly, I want to say this. There are a lot of different real statistical reasons why Black women can't find an equally yoked partner. One, there's a demographic imbalance. For every 100 single Black women, there's 85 single Black men. One, let's talk about the education economic disparities, right? Black women are getting degreed out. Black men are not following that same narrative, right? Then you have the cultural and historical factors. Let's keep it real. All the way back from our Black family dynamic has been completely dissipated, demised, and shattered and dismantled all the way back from centuries of slavery, segregation, and systemic disruption that still exists. And I have to say this, stigma and stereotypes back to media has put out this narrative that Black women are not wanting to be married because we're independent. Well, I'm a Black woman that's very successful and I'm interdependent and I'm very soft when it comes to my man. I'm actually soft when it comes to men in general. Even with my playfulness of bantering and interacting, I don't have to try. That's how I naturally am. The last thing is they put out a narrative that Black men, one, don't marry Black women. Not true. And two, don't want to marry. Well, Black men are marrying 26% more than Black women. Now, I'm not going to go into the demographic of what race they're marrying, but Black men very much are marrying more than us. And so what I'm saying is it's more about Black women figuring out what works for them and then becoming more of an interdependentness and not feeling like they have to be independent to be successful, because success is not independent in the essence of getting there. Really quick. It takes a lot of partnerships and a lot of relationships to even become successful at a much higher level. So we don't want to be independent. I'm a very interdependent woman and have no problem with needing or wanting my man.
Dimitri, are we seeing social media and hustle culture making it harder for the sisters to prioritize partnerships?
Yes, I think the idea of it is this, balancing ambition and love. What a lot of people don't realize, it's a skill that you oftentimes have no examples of. So your parents didn't really have to do this because your mother probably stayed at home, cooked, tended to, while dad went out and did all the work. This new era of women who are at the top of their fields and getting their degrees, it's a very beautiful thing, but it's also led to the idea of making these women seem unapproachable or too much. Just like you mentioned earlier, Teray, there's a lot of men who don't know how to navigate powerful women in this space. So a lot of times I feel vulnerable in comparison to this woman, what she's owned, what she's claimed for herself, and a lot of that nature. I think to answer the question, no, it's not that women have become too strong. It's the idea that we've made it seem as if empires are built alone, when in all actuality, it should be together. It should be. It's rare to see a couple going out and building an empire. That's even portrayed in movies and film and cinema. When you think about it, there's always this one, think like a man. Taraji P. Henson is the one woman in this movie who's always the rich and wealthy one, and she's looking for a man, and it's hard to find a man. That's the notion our society has pushed on the Black women. And honestly, I'm a little bit sick of it. I actually hate it for us. But men have to learn to tend to a powerful woman, as women have to learn to disconnect the idea of being a powerful woman from being just a woman when it comes to your man.
Can I just chime in really quick here, because I'm like burning. One of the things that I believe is masculine men. Okay, I'm not talking in masculinity, femininity. We all have both. I'm not going to go into that. Don't have a lot of time. The point is, masculine men don't care about all of the achievements that we have. And yet, a lot of the times, Black women lead with their accolades. And that is the issue. If all you're doing is leading with how much money you make, the degrees you have, the accolades you have, who you know, they don't care about that. In fact, in their mind, they now are discounting you for being their wife, because if that's all that you come with, it's giving business partner and not wife. I feel like us as women have gotten far, 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 far away from having the desire to nurture, the desire to show up for our men, the desire to be emotionally there for our men. And because all we know what to do is lead with our achievement, now we have emotionally isolated ourselves. Now we have become to the people that it's easier to say, I don't need a man. We know that that's a lie. We know that we want to lay up with someone. We know that we want to be connected. We know that we want to feel heard, seen, acknowledged. We know that we want leadership because that's what's natural, right? That is it's natural for us as feminine women to desire leadership. But what do? We get into a defense mechanism that says, oh, well, there's no good men out here. Oh, well, it's easier to just go for dinner and have some fun. Oh, I'm having the time of my life. Hot girl summer. And this is not conducive to what it is that we actually want. We've got to get outside of prioritizing our accolades and inside of prioritizing our femininity.
Yeah, I don't think we have to dummy down anything. Accolades, beauty, hair,
you can't lead with it though,
whatever it is. You don't need to dummy down anything. You need to come as a whole person, and you attract your equally yoked whole man, and y'all facilitate space for each other.
That is bad advice.
My question is that why is it that the Black woman is so separate from the Black man when we're talking about relationship, when we're talking about partnership? Why is it a gender war of like Black men here and then Black women over here? And is she too strong or too much? And is he too weak or too intimidated? How come our conversations aren't blending the two? Because I don't see myself separate from you, Dimitri, or separate from you, Teray, as a Black man. I see me, even though you, Teray, have a beautiful wife, I still see me as connected to you because you are Black and I am Black. And I look at you, regardless of how much we disagree on topics, I look at you as still a Black man who, if somebody was to say something about you derogatory in a room and you weren't there or you were there, I would feel naturally driven to ally with you and have your back and support you.
But do you see emotional isolation in sisters who are successful?
Yes.
But that's what I believe is emotionally isolating. That is what creates a lot of the separation, is that when we're having conversations about our Black men, we are separate from y'all, which automatically isolates both of us, the man and the woman. When the conversation isn't that we are separate, the conversation is, how is it that we can get along as a collective, not even romantically? Like, how can you and I have a disagreement, Touré, and still be able to be in brother and sisterhood just as two people who are Black? I believe the separation in the conversation and the narrative that we continuously hear creates an isolation for the Black man and the Black woman. That's
Sarah,
what
what do you think of that notion of the emotional isolation of the successful sister who then can't find the man, the prince, the king that she wants? I feel like, and I think you were kind of saying this, like, sisters find like they have to shrink themselves in order to find a man who will feel comfortable being with them. And thus, if they can't do that, then they end up isolated.
Yeah, she was saying shrink. I'm saying do not. So I want to make that clear.
I'm not saying shrink. What I'm saying is stop leading with. And I feel like and look, I'm going to tell you, because I know who I date. I know my situation, and I know who's been in my life, and I know who is in my life right now. For all of these women that are out here that are successful, because by the way, I'm one of them. Okay. I am in the top 1% of America. I have built all of these things, and you will never hear me lead with it. Why? Because it's not conducive to what I know that I want in my life. And what I'm saying is, as a woman, if you want to have a masculine man that wants to lead you, if this is what you want, what happens is, you saying all these things that you've accomplished is literally telling that man that you're also in his masculine, that you're in your masculine. Masculine and masculine bumps head. It is combative. You could be the most incredible person ever. I'm not saying don't go get the degrees. I'm not saying don't build your success. I'm saying stop leading with it. And if you lead with it, you will remain single, or you will remain in situationship.
I don't know what leading with it means. And I feel like the men are being given the day off from the accountability that they deserve when you meet a sister who is empowered, degreed up. Like, I don't even know what masculinized means. Like,
she explained it well. She said she explained it well.
The problem is that the brothers are not relating to her on her level, not that she's not
hold
on their level.
Hold on, Sarah, you explained it. Touré, I hear what you're saying. Correct. I agree with you. She's saying that you shouldn't lead with it and speak it and say it and boast it. You don't have to lead with something you are. So if you're walking in a room and you're speaking it and you're saying it, first of all, that's already an insecurity within you that feels that your value needs to be led by that. When a woman like myself walks in, I'm not demanding, I'm commanding. I don't have to tell y'all who I am and what degrees I have. My conversation, time spent with me, my relationships, the things I do, and my lifestyle speak for that. To Touré's point, yes, when a man sees all those things and he doesn't have to take the accountability that this may be too much for me, that's a problem. This is why I'm saying what Sarah is the narrative she's pushing out. Don't lead with that. Don't open your mouth about it. I'm not saying open your mouth about it. I'm saying don't dummy down, and you can be proud about who you are, because who you are is being, it's not doing. Sarah is describing doing, saying this is who I am. Who does that? We're talking about a person being who they are, and men not having the ability to connect with her naturally, because your education, your career does shape your personality. It does shape your values and morals. And when we're having a conversation about coming from a woman who is all of those things, educated, successful, experienced, well-traveled, Touré, you're going to see that in my conversation. So if you can't hang with that, that's not me boasting like Sarah's saying. That's me being who I am. And I'm not going to dummy down because you can't hang. Let those women do that who have those insecurities.
Dimitri, hold on. Dimitri, when we really pull back the camera a little bit, think about Reaganomics, right? And what happened in the 80s, mass incarceration, the war on drugs. The Black family took a big hit in the 80s. The system really attacked the Black family. And that led to a lot of situations where the Black woman is holding down the household by herself. Sometimes she's on assistance, sometimes she's not. But like, she was a bedrock of the community of so many families in that period. And then yet I feel like out of that experience, the country said, oh, she's too strong for doing what survival demanded. So then she's getting the worst of, she did what we needed her to do to help us survive, but then she's getting branded too strong for having done it.
You know, absolutely. That's absolutely the problem. And I think just like we spoke on earlier about the emasculation of man, this is also tied to what history did. We're comparing ourselves to what masculinity seemed to be. I like to say it all the time. For me, masculinity is your ability to have a well-roundedness. So when your woman comes to you with any problem, you're able to solve it. That's me as a man. When I see a powerful woman, and I deal with powerful women, I've come across my powerful women, I don't feel that way. I'm not looking at what history was in comparison to what history now, but to speak on the Reaganomics part of it, the idea that a woman had to be so strong for so long led to the idea of she can't come to me and tell me she feels weak either. I'm only viewing her from this strong perspective. And a lot of men have not learned to understand that sometimes she needs to cry. She can still be this boss over here in this area, but when she comes back to me, she's just my baby. And I think the idea of it is it's locked on our society. Like, this is something we have to break. The idea that a powerful woman does not mean she has no weakness. She has no moment of vulnerability. Power and vulnerability still can go hand in hand. And I like to reference my own platform as such. I sit and speak what I live openly. And there's a lot of power in that. So I advocate for all men, anybody listening, to allow your woman to do such. It's not, I heard everything you guys said about the accolades, and I agree with you. Leading with them can cause a skewed perspective on what you're going to bring to this relationship. But when nobody's talking about that, when you're just looking person to person and who you are heart to heart, that's when it matters more. And that's how we start to show up for each other. And all it is black men need to learn how to show up for powerful black women correctly. We're not taught these things.
And
I definitely agree with that.
Want to feel
us being a collective when we're talking about it. I'm so tired of us talking like we're separate entities of people. We are individuals, but we are definitely by far a community. I'm not separate from you, Dimitri. I'm sorry. And we got to start to lead by example by having the conversation of, we can all disagree on here, but we are a collective of a Black community, and we have to start to teach that by how we communicate in front of people.
Now, I do agree. I'm so sorry. I do agree with that perspective. I'm so sorry, Sarah. I agree with that perspective, but I think it's a very internal perspective. If it's not what the world is teaching, we look at social media, and social media tells us how to treat a woman or what a woman may need. That's not the narrative being pushed online. I'm sorry.
And you know what else isn't being pushed online? The fact that when we even say, I don't need a man, well, guess what? Men need to feel needed. And if you don't make that man feel like he's needed, you will remain single or you will remain in situationships. A man will never choose you as his wife or his forever. He might keep you and 3 others on the line, but you will not be his one, because men need to feel needed. And until we can have all the accolades, we can have all the success, I have those. But please believe my man feels like the only man on the world. I don't just want him, I need him. I'm going to act that way. Now, the truth is, as humans, we don't need anyone. I could, every bill can get paid, every car note, every this, every that. I could get the spider above my bed, even though I'm scared. I could do all of those things. However, giving a man that opportunity to lead you in that way will have him so bought into ride or die for you, ready for you type of person. A large group of our women are so busy acting like, this is my roommate. This is my roommate I sometimes get to sleep with. I split the bill.
If you think of your partner as a roommate, then you have a massive problem, right? That's a massive problem in the relationship. I understand that happens, but that's then you've run into the ditch. You need to go to therapy and work that out. There are some relationships where the woman feeling that she needs, telling the man, community man, that she needs him, that can be very valuable. That can be very empowering. That can make me feel very good. That can also put a lot of weight and responsibility on me. Some men want to take that on. Some men may not, right? So some men don't want a woman who feels like she needs me, because that's a lot of weight. I love a sister who stands on her own, and I can, she's a pillar, I'm a pillar. She's not leaning on me. I think there's multiple models. Your model is fabulous and it will work for many people. And even as you're describing it, I'm like, oh, that sounds so great. But there's also other models that will also work for other people. But Doc, I want you to take up this idea that traditionally Black men have dealt with a lot of the brunt of the demise of the Black family and not being in the home for various reasons. What accountability do the strong, independent sisters need to take for their part in hurting the Black family, if at all?
I don't know about hurting the Black family. What I will say is that a lot of times sisters have had to be in control of things and environments so that it runs in a way that is for the best interest of themselves and the family, especially if they're single mamas. And when you take that type of woman who has had to be in survival mode and uncertainty isn't something that served her, so she has to control so that there's less uncertainty for the safety of herself and her kids when she does get a man who can lead. And I don't believe it takes a masculine man to lead. No, it takes a balanced man to lead. That means that man has to have, like the Bible says, some submission in him as well. He has to be able to be vulnerable as well in the midst of just being masculine. Masculinity is not what's just going to lead you. He has to have a balance. That's what makes you yin and yang. It makes you equally yoked. When that man comes, because a man who can lead doesn't need a woman to control him. So when a woman has to control things because of her fear of the uncertainty, she doesn't create that space for him to be a man. What that does is it doesn't emasculate him. It repels him, because a man who can lead, who's vertical in who he is, he's just not going to stay where it's not healthy for him. He is going to pivot. He's not going to stay and conform to what she needs. And so when you ask the accountability piece, I think as Black women, for us to take a step back and say, okay, well, where is it? Am I allowing myself to trust the process of a man coming in and leading me, and not feeling like I have to know every single GPS point, every turn, every light before I can relinquish that and be in my, what women are calling now, my soft girl era. If I'm going to be in the passenger seat of a car with a man, that means I chose you, so I trust you. Let me recline this thing, relax, and say, Daddy, let me know when we get there. Let me not tell you, make a left, make a right, stop, what are you doing? And control the whole situation. And then gaslight him and say, girl, he couldn't handle me because he was a boy. No, you didn't have the ability to trust a man's leadership that you chose. And if you didn't trust him, you shouldn't have chose that man. So I think we got to hold space to allow that man to not divert from us, not pivot from us, because a man's not going to stay where he cannot be a man at.
So help me understand another part of this, Doc, because you're a strong Black woman all day long. That's what I think about when I think about you. And we know the sisters who are strong Black women are sometimes like, damn, like, I got to shoulder everything. I got to do everything. I got to take care of everything. And it's a tremendous amount of spiritual and emotional weight on people. And we revere and love Big Mama and the mothers in our families and the women in our families who are like holding it together for everybody in the family, everybody on the team. But it's a lot of weight. And I can see a lot of sisters like, the white women get to like, be fragile and, cry and everybody run to them. And the sisters don't quite have that same experience. I want you to explain that, but I want to run a piece of video about how the sisters feel and then get your comments.
I do not desire to be the strong Black woman. Someone else can have that title. I don't want it. I want to be the woman that takes the day when I need it. I want to be the woman that's vulnerable enough to say, I'm really not feeling it today. It's been a lot. I need someone to create space for me to share that and for someone else to pour into me.
What do you think, Doc?
So this is the narrative that I'm saying that they're sending out there. I don't represent that narrative. I do exactly what she said. I have a lot of help. Every man that I've either been engaged to or I've dated or are my companions now, they help. I don't have to ask. They offer, they check in on me. I have male family members, cousins, brothers that, that check on my house. My brother takes out my trash every Sunday. I have cousins that check on me. I share my location with 3 different men who are all family members. I was in Atlanta filming True Talks last season. I had cousins flying out, male cousins, to make sure I was good. Guy friends. So what I'm saying is, I'm able to tell my support system, hey, look, I need a day off. This is too much for me. Male and female rise to the occasion to support me. I'm able to say, listen, I want to take a vacation. I have family members who are males who are just guy friends who would say, what's up? Where you want to go? So what I'm saying is that narrative may be true for majority of women. I'm not knocking them. But I also know that there are women like myself who have really good, amazing men who are in their circle. I call it the circle of wealth, who will shut shit down for them, support them, love on them, and let them take that day off. So I don't want Black women to think that is everyone's narrative. I am very much supported, and I have a very well cushioned soft landing for myself, and I always have.
Sarah, that's beautiful for her, but a lot of sisters don't have that in their life. A lot of sisters are, and other sorts of women are like, the world is asking me to be strong, and it's a lot of weight on my shoulders. What do you think about that, Sarah?
Yeah. So first and foremost, because I'm sure that women right now are asking, how do I be more feminine? How do I be more soft? How do I change the way that I even address men? Well, number one, you have to stop trying to force control. You're only strong when you're trying to hold on to something. But if you just allow yourself to flow and be inside of your beautiful, empowered essence and energy, be willing to stop yelling at people, because men don't. I'm gonna give y'all 3 easy things that you can start that will absolutely change the way that you date. And I'm going to put all of this inside of these 3 things. First and foremost, if you want a masculine man, and this is going to be offensive to some, but it is the truth. Why do babies cry? Why do dogs howl? Why does the sun come up in the east and go down in the west? It is what it is. Most masculine men value an aesthetic. So do the best you can with your genetic potential. That does not mean you have to be a size 0. That does not mean that you have to be a size 2. What it means is do the best you can in taking care of yourself, having good hygiene, drinking water, having a salad, going to the gym. Now, that is all caveated inside of this. Ladies, and I see this all the time, ladies are always blaming and taking no accountability, by the way, and blaming and deflecting what it is. So what they say is, oh my God, you're always late every time we have a party. Oh, you always are looking at them other girls. Why are you breaking your neck to look at them? When the truth of it is that if we would literally just say how we feel. Let's say I'm with a guy that I'm dating and he looks at a woman. This is an example, right? He looks at a woman and I feel very uneasy about the fact that he looked at a woman. The truth is I feel insecure. The truth is, I feel like he would choose her over me. The truth, whatever the truth may be, but what do we do as a deflection? We say, why are you always looking at her? You ain't got to break your neck like that. That's so disrespectful. But if you want to be with a masculine man, instead of telling him, blaming him, and wronging him, share how you feel, because masculine energy that cares and loves you will solve the problem. What I mean by that is now say, I'm feeling a little insecure because I see that you looked at or I'm feeling a little insecure when you look at women that long. Makes me feel uneasy.
Dimitri, what does it take to be with a masculine man?
What does it take to be with a masculine man or a powerful Black woman?
How about just a good man?
No, what does it take for her to be with you? You're a powerful brother. She's talking about the sister has to do this to fit with a powerful man. What does she have to do to be with you?
She has to know herself. I think that means more to me than anything. It's if you are a powerful woman, know the power you possess. I don't want you to shrink from my ego. Not at all. Not even a little bit. I want you to shine as bright as you can and let me build a stage under you so more people can see this light, baby. But that's what a powerful man does. A powerful man does not look at power and see something he has to control, but something he can assist. And I think the thing about it is there's all these narratives on the table about what a powerful man needs and the masculinity and Black man in general. And I'm gonna just speak for Black men because I'm a Black man. Truthfully, we have a skewed view of what power actually means. You can't beg for her to be strong, intelligent, educated, and driven. And then the moment she's here, you don't know what it's like to make space for her because you never went out and learned. So for a Black man to actually see it and desire it, he has to know this is something I have to make room in this house for. I have to build her a closet so she can fit here. She can live here. And I think, of course, metaphorically, but the idea of it is that's something we were never taught. A lot of Black men from where I'm from watch their fathers beat their mothers. You know what I'm saying? So they grew up thinking they had to preach this exact same narrative. So to run into a powerful woman who say, I'm not going to take that. I'm not doing that. It's different. The question becomes, how do Black men create space? I think black men create space by accepting exactly who they are, flaws and all. A lot of times we look in the mirror and we hate seeing ourselves, but that's not a reflection of the person standing in front of us, but who we've grown ourselves to be. I talk to a lot of men, and I got a best friend, shout out to my best friend, but he told me he grew up without a father. And the other day we spent an hour and a half talking about tools. Just look, me giving him my knowledge. So
Name a tool.
His girl house.
What's a tool?
Listen,
What's a tool?
Tools, I'm talking about impact tools, like to fix a car and mount a TV. He told me, brother, I want to mount my girl TV on the wall. I said, this is exactly the steps you take to do it. That grew him as a man. Now he feel more comfortable in his relationship because he deals with a powerful woman. And brother, I want that for you. It's a lot of times black men or men in general have to learn to see themselves and what they lack so they can develop it. So when that powerful woman is standing next to them, it's not viewed as competition.
Sarah, how do we redefine female independence, which we're seeing from the sisters and we love, as not a rejection of love, but like a foundation? So it's about interdependence where both partners are whole, not competing against each other.
Yeah, this is my life. In the world, I am Sarah Fontenot, name in lights, travel around stages, gets translated in different languages. I am very much a successful woman. And in my home, the way that I speak to my man, the way that I'm seeking his desires before he even expresses it, the way that I'm seeking for the detail-oriented things, there's nothing wrong with being successful. It's the way and energy and essence in which you bring it home. And I don't think that enough women have mastered how to turn off the outside energy. And I'm not talking about dating outside. I'm talking about the work energy, the stress energy, and then also I do think that men, because it's easy to be lazy inside of dating now when the standard is so low. So now men have become lazy in dating. Women aren't necessarily holding the highest standard. And so it's become this smorgasbord of just, I really think it's a prostitution transactional time in 2025. It's a scary world that we live in. We both need to have standards for ourselves. But let me tell you this, ladies, you can inspire any man to do anything if you ask for his help. We have to stop having all the answers. And look, y'all could call it whatever you want. It's actually called contraband. Some might call it manipulation. Contraband is when you inspire someone. This is where you plant the seed and he allows it to grow. And then you celebrate him like it's his idea. There are so many different things. But let's watch this video. I heard there's a video we want to see.
Invest in my kid. See, these don't care, but that's what's wrong with this generation today. These young boys today put this she bring to the table. The hell you mean, man? What do your ass bring to the table? You got a woman that can come to the table that can make another you. What else she need to slide up to the table with? What about your job? What happened to men who were supposed to be responsible? And you know that it's our job to take care of a woman and some children, to have a family. That's our damn job. But what happens to when the woman tell you, I don't need a man, see? Well, they need to work. Okay, if you don't know how that's working. You know, how that's working. Who don't need no man? I'm independent. I can do for myself. Yeah, but why do you want to?
Dimitri, he said something really powerful, Steve, there in the beginning about her ability to have children. That never leaves you. My kids are 17, 16. One of them's almost out of the house. Every time my wife asks me, can you carry this bag home from the store or up the stairs or lift this or whatever? And I'm like, she had 2 children for you. And the pain and stress of that, all the things that, like, you better do whatever she wants and whatever she asks forever. And and that is like a constant, please rub my feet. And I'm like, she had 2, like that never leaves. So never ask her what she brings to the table, because she brings the ability for you to have legacy, for you to have family, for you to have people here who look like you, who will live on after you, and give you the deepest sort of joy that you could imagine in the world. So it's completely ridiculous. What do you bring to the table?
Hold on, Touré. This is what you just brought to this table, baby. You just cooked and served that. You know, I give props. I tear your ass up, but I also give Touré. You just cooked. I'm gonna have to put that clip on my page. You cooked, Touré.
Touré, I do love the way you advocate for your wife. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times I see married couples and I be so jealous. I'd be like, I'm glad you have somebody to do life with, but even more than that, someone who inspires you. Like Dr. Fontenot said, the idea of it is a woman in her own essence
Yes.
is the most inspirational thing a man can ever come across. And for a man to feel inspired, there's nothing he will not do, nothing he will not learn, nothing he will not apply for, nothing he will not inquire about. I told y'all, my friend asking me how to mount a TV. He never needed to before, but he asking me now. And reason being is because the thing about it is there's this narrative that a lot of Black women want to do it by themselves. They don't. They've just lost trust in what a man is now defined as in this generation.
But that's the question, Doc. Why, like Steve is talking about, why is it that some sisters are like, I don't need a man? Like, why would some have that attitude at all?
So the main thing that he said was, why would they want to? Okay, I can't speak for sisters who don't want that. I can speak for a sister who genuinely doesn't need my man for survival because I do well enough to take care of entire family plus 2 or 3. But do I want to do that? No. Will I do that? No. Will I support my man and have his back and spoil the hell out of him? Of course I would. But like Steve said, I love that Steve didn't say nothing about needing. He said, well, if she doesn't need you and she can hold her own, why would she want to when you got a man that can? That's what I'm saying. As a powerful woman, it's not because you have the power and you don't need another outlet. So, go ahead and be in your independence. It's about, well, why would I not want another outlet? And how could that add to the power that I do have? How can I add to him? And this is the other thing, a good man, all this masculine and feminine, a well-rounded, healthy man is a man who understands that love, marriage, and relationships are about service. A man who is in his maturity and ready for marriage is trying to figure out how he can serve you. And a little boy who's not there yet trying to figure out what he can get from you. Same thing with the woman. A grown woman says, how can I serve my man? Because you got 2 people in a service position, they're going to do very well. And then that dissipates the power and the masculinity and feminine. Because there's going to be times, Torre, where my man is in his feminine. I want him to be, and I'm going to hold space for him. And there'll be time where he's in more of his masculine. And I love that part too. Me too. I might be more in my dominant. I might be more in my submissive. But it's about us being partners and finding balance in whatever space we're in. That's why marriage is called work. And women have to know that you can be power, and part of that power is still soft and loving and interdependent. And let me go further. It is even okay for a woman who's an at-home mama, because to me, that's a powerful woman too, to be dependent on her husband to take care of her and those babies if that is their agreement. There's nothing powerless about a woman who's being a mother at home, taking care of her children. She has a damn heavy, big job to do as well. She's no me as a doctor or a woman who's an attorney at all.
Sarah, as the doctor stated earlier, that there is an imbalance to number of marriageable men per marriageable women, right? I think the doc talked about 100 marriageable women per 85 men. Plus, we have sisters who are educating themselves out of most conversations with most men. Plus, when you talk about having children, which is a disqualifier for some women, going to prison, which is makes it hard for them to date. So we have a situation where it's tricky, right? The sisters are competing for a small number of marriageable men. What do we do with that part of it? Like, how do sisters have to date differently, given that there's not an eligible Black man for every sister who wants one?
Yeah. So logistically, it's not possible for every woman to be married because there's just not enough men. And then when you take, straight men into account, and then you take all of these different things, the filters, it just makes the dating pool for men that actually desire to be a husband, it's even smaller and it's much more of a challenge. Now, that being said, I think that women are using accolades, achievements, degrees, incomes, jobs as defense mechanisms that say, I don't need a man. It's a way to cling to something, and it's easier to say, you know what, I'll have the AI boyfriend, I'll get the cat, I'll have the dog, and that's enough. Now, that being said, there's also nothing wrong with that as well if you mean it. But there are so many women that are saying it and they don't mean it. You have these women that are saying, I want a man that's going to take care of me. I want a man that's going to do, he's going to protect, provide, and all of these different things. And to be honest, homegirl, some of y'all aren't qualified for those men. Why? Because you're mean. You talk back too much. You don't mind your tone. You're emotionally dysregulated. And so if you're not actually doing the work on yourself to be a woman that can follow the lead of a man that desires to lead, let somebody else get him. Get out the way. You can be the lady in your house that genuinely does not want children or genuinely does not want to be married. And I'm so sick and tired of people weaponizing singleness, because there's nothing wrong with being single. If you in your heart of hearts feel like I genuinely enjoy my life, and this is for the ladies on this line that are single, if you genuinely enjoy that and you have a super solid friend group, and the choice is you would rather be at peace in your alone time than in chaos with somebody else, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you choosing your peace over panic, right? There's nothing wrong with you deciding to go at it alone, because you know what? Maybe you don't want to do the work that comes with the compromise inside of relationships. So I do think that in a lot of cases, women, because they don't want to necessarily do the work that comes with being a feminine, submissive woman to a partner, and men are also lacking leadership. I do think that combined, people are using defense mechanisms, saying marriage will never work, saying that this isn't for us, saying that it's all a scam. A lot of men are saying, well, she's just going to take me for half of what I have. Sir, you barely have anything. I'm confused by that too. So there's a lot of rhetoric on the internet, and ultimately you just have to do what's best for you.
Dimitri, how do we redefine strength, which a lot of sisters are strong, in a way that allows Black women to receive love rather than just sort of surviving pain or repelling love or something like that?
I think in order to redefine it, we got to redefine, or not even redefine, but in order to redefine it, we have to relabel what it is we lied to ourselves about. So many women have been convinced that they don't want a man and they don't need a man because they looked at all the men in their past and said, he wasn't shit. My daddy probably wasn't shit. Granddaddy didn't even. And it went on for years. And it led this young woman to believe that no man I meet is going to be worthy enough of me until you actually run into a man who shows you. And if you actually pay attention to it and break it down by history, it's typically the woman who have great relationships with their father that does end up getting married, that does end up in these happy, blissful, peaceful relationships. And not just father in general, but mother as well. They come from a good family dynamic, and that's why they're pushing toward one. The thing about it is, I advocate for everybody to stop putting labels on yourself from what your past created and say, this is what I want, and I'm going to push toward that.
Sarah, marriage is a partnership, a legally binding contract. Is it true partnership? Is the true partnership possible without power struggles? Or are we like even afraid to even try anymore?
No, of course, there's always going to be some kind of struggle in a relationship. And a real relationship is a mirror to all the ugliest places of you. One of my closest friends married over a decade. And she said, marriage has shown me the places where I thought I was good and I found out I was really ugly. And it is the opportunity to do that work to fix it or to stay stuck in who and where you are. So I think that marriage, if you're willing to do that work and really look at yourself, is such a beautiful opportunity to experience new things. Because I'll just say this and I'll be done, that I don't think that a woman can truly experience the deepest level of trust without being married and the deepest level of selflessness without being a mother.
Dimitri, how do you be a Black man and masculine in a relationship without making the sister feel awkwardly submissive? Like, a lot of these strong Black women will say in polls, they don't mind being submissive to the right man as long as there is protection and providing along with it.
I think it's reciprocation. It's your ability to show up for that woman in ways she thought men did not. It's if she's cooking, you're cleaning. And I know this goes against a lot of society's norms, but this is what I view. This is what I watched growing up. So for me, that reciprocatory factor in it is saying, okay, I'm looking at it as however I can be in assistance to this woman emotionally, physically, mentally, whether it's with investments, it does not matter. I am looking to aid to this woman. And, taking that idea of she is the only aider in this relationship off the table.
Word. The last question tonight's for the audience. I want you to drop a hashtag truth tellers in the chat and tell us this. If we don't figure this out, what happens to the Black family 20 years from now? I'm married, but let's keep it all the way real. If this war on the sexes keeps pitting Black men and Black women against each other, what happens to the Black family long term? Who wins when we're divided? Not us. We can't keep calling each other bitches and hoes while the white race is panicked about soon becoming the minority race. So much so that they're breaking laws, kidnapping people, and incentivizing IVF. They once broke our families with chains and laws. Now they break us with ego, finances, blame games, and a lack of opportunity. The question is, will we rise up before history repeats itself? Stay woke, stay together, or stay conquered. That's your options. And damn it, fellas, pick up the phone and check on your strong platonic female friend. Let her know you're there for her. Lots of guys are there for Dr. B, and it makes her feel loved and supported and secure. So I want other men to be providing that to other sisters in their lives, right? Because you can see the love that she feels from all these people flying in, calling to check. Like, we can do that for all sorts of sisters in our lives. And, you know, if you want to ask that sister on a date, like, you know, shoot your shot, you know, if it's appropriate. No, don't go buck wild. Don't DM Dr. Bryant. Just, do it the right way. That's our show for tonight. Like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel at Truth Talks Live. Watch us simulcasting on the Black Star Network after Roland Martin Unfiltered. Don't forget to support Black media at Cash App, Truth Talks Live. Advertise with us and reach our 10 million person audience. And partner with us by visiting truthtalkslive.com and become a VIP member of the Truth Lounge so you can learn about even more about any of us. As we talked about tonight, Black media remains under attack. So support our show by telling a friend to tell a friend to watch Truth Talks every night, 8 p.m. EST, 8 p.m. PST. We will be here tomorrow night at 8 p.m. We'll see you later.